Welcome back to Missing Time, but worst thing could have happened in the last time around. Chiharu decided it would be a good idea to join the occult club, and on this very dreaded day we're going to be interviewing the occult club. My mind keeps circling around how to deal with the occult club during class, resulting in a not very happy lit teacher and failing a very simple equation. I feel silly, it's my idea to push for this to be done after all. I shouldn't be so nervous about it. It's just another interview, right? Did it quit or not? Ember is still just another student, and I don't know if I'd rather deal with Shizeo or not. I don't know why, but she seems a bit tricky. That's one way to put it. She knows exactly how to deal with people, and despite not having interacted with her much, I feel like if she chooses to lie, none would be the wiser. Or maybe I'm just being paranoid. No, you're not being paranoid. I haven't spoken to Chiharu since that painful afternoon. We've been actively avoiding each other rather than navigating the field of grass that conversation had left behind. It didn't take me long to realise that me saying those things to her must have reminded her of how her parents have always been talking down to her, like she's a child who doesn't know any better. Guilt rushes through me every time I think about it, but the childish part in me also feels angered. How could she just blindly trust someone she barely knows like that? Doesn't Chiharu know I only have her best interest in mind? But aren't I just another stranger now? Whatever we used to have back when we were kids is so far in the past. We've grown into different people, have lived different lives. No matter how stubbornly I cling to the familiarity of those memories, they are not the Chiharu I know now. When the last bell rings, well, there's no going back now, best buckle myself down and get this done and over with. And I meet up with Sumire on her way out of class. She tries to keep up a cheerful demeanour, but neither of us could figure out what to say. I have a set of questions prepared, mostly standard stuff. It would be best to keep to the safer questions. Yeah, we're already tripping on thin ice here. I have told myself, I just hope my curiosity won't get the better of me. Their meeting room is really far away, huh? Yeah, it's best if it's all the way in the far corner where barely anybody would go. Yeah, all the way in the other building. So, do you want to ask questions or should I? Yeah, but we haven't really worked that one out, huh? The fact that Sumire is getting nervous over this speaks volumes. In our previous interviews, we bounced the questions between us without issues or rehearsal. We want everything to come off as natural as possible, but it seems like neither of us wanted to lead this one. I scroll through the list on my phone. They're mostly open questions, so hopefully we can get them to talk more than we do. That's usually the drill anyway. You're right, nobody wants to see us rumbling on anyway. Exactly, rambling. But if you ask me, I'd rather see us rambling on. Focus. On what? Our imminent doom? Sumire slaps my shoulder. Too soon. I don't know. Is it? Stop trying to be funny. Trying? I don't know. You're the one laughing. You. Our bickering considerably brightens up the mood. Or at the very least we managed to get to the other building without fretting more over the interview. And here we are. Alright, let's get this over with. Seems like Ember is not motivated to do this either. Of course, whatever good mood we manage to scrounge up evaporates the moment we stand in front of Ember. Now, let's not be so unwelcoming to our guests. It's difficult not to be intimidated by Ember. Not only is she tall and broad in build, she's definitely flexing her muscles under her blazer. Sumire shuffles uncomfortably next to me, trying to make herself look busy by looking through her notebook. I wince internally. It's up to me now, then. We're not going to take up much of your time, really, so, I glance between Ember and Shizeo. One looks ready to punt me like I'm overgrown bug. The other seems vaguely encouraging, but mostly amused. This is already going badly, and we haven't even started. So, what is the occult club? What are your activities, and what's your current project? If you have one. That's a good open question. Who wants to know? Pardon? Oh, we're from a journalism club, and it's for a school paper, like we said. I sent both of you an email a few days before, and how did you get my email? Well, now, let's not get tense. I saw your email, yeah. Turning to me, Shizeo smiles. We're actually going through a bit of content renovation right now. Is that what you call choosing your next target, Shizeo? The Occult Club wants to focus on the positive sides of Wiccan practices, lost legends and unsolved mysteries, with that spooky deliciousness of supernatural horror stories as well. Glad that at least Shizeo is willing to play along and not turn hostile. Although she could also be putting on a facade. I take a breath and plow on. Sumire, also relieved, is scribbling furiously on her notebook. Sounds like you really are focused on what the club's name stands for. But of course, what else would we be doing? I don't assume you guys write poetry instead of delivering news, do you? Well, technically, what else do you want to know? Right, are you guys working on a project? Or are you just doing general studies? I'd say a bit of both. We don't have a lot of members, you see, so it's important to keep everyone entertained. Say, would it be alright if we put in an advertisement for the club whenever you publish your article? It'd really boost our popularity, I'm sure. Oh, well, we're planning to... It could be good, it could be bad. Let's not interrupt. We're planning to... Since there are so many clubs, we're planning to stagger the interviews, so your interview might get published next. Yeah. I see. Ember shoots Shizeo an irritated look. Shizeo shrugs and continues, directing her lukewarm smile at us. Something unpleasant squirms in the pit of my stomach. What are you really looking for here? We really just want to encompass all the existing clubs in Komachi. It's more about bringing the information to the readers than anything. For a moment there, Ember looks like she's about to blow a fuse, of course. But then Shizeo puts a hand on her elbow, and Ember's barely contained anger is reduced into a heavy scowl instead. Not that she's been wearing any other expression since we arrived. Still, it's better than that she's not full-on yelling at us. I don't think Sumire could take it if that's the case. That's alright, it's more important anyway. Sorry. It's alright, don't worry too much about it. Ember, don't you have to prepare for the project? I'll take this outside, okay? Great, the moment we're out of earshot, Shizeo lets out a relieved breath. Sorry about that, guys. It's no trouble, I'm sorry if we're being imposing. No, it's not your fault. Shizeo sighs again, tucking a few strands of hair behind her ear. Ember's been a bit stressed out lately over the club. You happen to have caught her on a bad day too. When is she ever having a good day though? Like, let's just be honest. Everyone else cancelled out at the last minute today. What do you mean everyone else? It's just the two of you. Oh, that's... Yeah. Ember's been working really hard on a group project study. You know, with outdoor activities and research and everything. She was excited about it. But it seemed like the others are really into it. So, what do you mean, others? It seems like others are people that were in existence and now, unfortunately, 6 foot under. She's a bit hurt right now, and she tends to lash out when she's upset. So, talk about bad luck. While I don't appreciate Ember's attitude, I can understand how dejected she must feel. I understand. Is there anything we can do? Well, I know you said our interview won't be featured until later, but would it help if I can show you? Show us? Yeah, the project. Oh, that would be great, actually. I don't think that would be great at all, to be honest. We do have a photograph session for things like that. That's amazing. When would you be free? We can do it this weekend. I have Sunday free. How about you, Flare? Seems like Sumire is quite eager to get into this. Then I can do Sunday. Great! Fan-dabby-dozy. I'm going to hypothesize something about this project. Number 1. This project is going to be about Chiharu and some kind of dissection program. Number 2, with us being involved, we're also going to be caught in the crossfire. Number 3, since we've done like the normal end and the good end of this route, then that leaves one other possible ending that could take place. A bad end. Thank you guys so much for doing this. You can come see me by the shrine. The activity we've been preparing is nearby. Preparing. Alright, we'll be there. Thanks again. No problem. Bad feeling about this. And this is fun, isn't it? I don't know. Seems a lot of work for just one project. When you think about it, isn't ours just equally huge in terms of work? You have a point. I gotta say though, the view is really nice. The verdant forest behind the Onishi shrine looks untouched by civilization despite only a few miles away from town. One can't deny how well the Onishi keeps their property and the area around it preserved to perfection. There's one word to describe it. Do you think our club would like something like this? A hike out in the mountains? Some probably would. You're right, Kanako would hate getting all her notes flying everywhere in the wind. Not an outdoorsy person, is she? Nope. When we were kids, my dad took us out for camping once, and she cried the whole night. The whole night? Yeah. It's a bit of a running joke, but back then it was horrifying. I can imagine. Hey, are we at the right spot? I think so. This is what Chiharu put on my map. Are we early? I don't see anyone else here. Let me double check. As Sumire scrolls through her phone, I'll take a look around. Nobody's here yet. Are we too early? Or... I think... Yep, something happened. An explosion of pain... Yeah, so that was Ember, I imagine, or something. An explosion of pain smashes against my back, knocking me prone on the ground. My chin hits the ground with a painful clack. Yep. Something. No, please! It's Ember, isn't it? Pain overwhelms everything, even fear. Instinct dictates me to try and run, but not even adrenaline could get me moving. Some... Tough one, huh? No! No. Please. Someone. Help us? Nah. Something bad happened. The pain upon waking up is nothing like I've ever felt in my life. My eyelids feel like they were glued together. My skin blisters like it's on fire. My joints are so stiff I can't even budge without excruciating pain. Someone's waking up. Please? Sumire. Was that Sumire? Sumire? Fighting against my protesting body. I crack my eyes open. Everything is a blow at first and then... It's the cave, isn't it? Oh, well, hi! Look who it is. If I wasn't any better at control of my body, I would have let out a scream. Chiharu's glassy eyes stare back at me, emotionless, lightless, lifeless. Chiharu. Chiharu? My horrified eyes cast down before I could stop myself. My fingers are filled with blood. Blood staining Chiharu's abdomen. Blood and open, messy gash on her body. Chiharu? Awake finally, I see. A raspy cry escapes me, when someone drags Chiharu's corpse away. 2 dark boots steps into my eyesight. A hand armed with razor-sharp nails grabs a handful of my hair, putting my scalp to a point of daring to right me. Hi there. Yep. What? Would you think anything else would have come this way? Like, with this project? You... Yes, me? Flare! Sumire! I try to look for Sumire, but Chiharu's grip keeps my head where it is. Now that I'm upright with bits of my consciousness return, I realize that my hands are bound behind my back. I struggle, but that only results in my torn muscles being pulled painfully. Dramatic, aren't you? Violently, she pushes my head back, slamming me against the cold wall. A stiff cry bubbles up my throat as hot pain races through me. You are such an annoyance. Flare! Oh, shut it, bubblehead. But why? because you got in the way. Look, little man, I was being generous after you. Out of nowhere, decide to step out of line. I was being nice. I let go. I moved on. But you just kept having to get in my way, didn't you? I don't... What are you talking about? Didn't your mother teach you not to play with your food? My mother... Oh gosh, before she could teach me. Not that she ever wanted anything to do with me anyway. Another figure enters my vision. My bleary bruised eyes could barely make out what they look like. Wrap this up quickly, won't you? I have a thing in the hour. What thing? This is more important. Besides, the more scared they are, the sweeter they will taste. What the hell? Yeah, exactly. This is a bad situation. Yep. It's Ember, isn't it? The rumors are more right than they have any business to be. It really was. Is Ember who's responsible? Isn't she? And Shizeo too. But why? Oh yes, where were we? Poor sweet Flare. You really are just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Why us? Chiharu, Sumire. Why? Didn't I just say it? You're just unfortunate. Bad things happen to good people all the time, don't you know? Yeah, well, bad things happen to criminals, you know. Like imprisonment. It was supposed to be just Chiharu, but you two got in the way. I'm at the mercy of two murderers. Those who have murdered Chiharu in cold blood. Who will murder me and Sumire too. Disgusting despair well up within me. I hiss at Shizeo's smirking face, wanting so badly to throttle her. Now, no need to be so mad. But you aren't so innocent now, are you? What do you mean? Oh, I know all about you poking around playing detective with the information last year. He what? Oh yes. He's been using his status as journalism club member to dig around about the occult club and the cases last year. Yes. Well, he's been sort of harmless till now. You evil blanks. Shut up. You killed them all, didn't you? He certainly has a mouth on him, doesn't he? And Shizeo's going to be like, we weren't born last year, Bubblehead. Like we're going to believe you, Chief Spawn. Desperate promises are empty, don't you know? Why are you doing this? Shizeo turns to me. For a moment something twinkles in her eye, something mischievous, or something like pity. But then she smiles an ugly smile. One of those smiles again, tipping my chin up with a finger. Sometimes, Flare, you die without explanations. Sometimes you're just not important enough for one. I barely make a noise when something cold pierces through me. All the breaths in my lungs escape in a punched out sign as I stare down at the blade Shizeo has sheathed into my gut. Somewhere, far away, I hear Sumire screams. Better luck next time, Flare. Thanks for that. I slump down to the floor once more. And that is in her eye as well. On the floor, bleeding out, I finally see Sumire. Chained up, bleeding, broken. Just like me. I see Shizeo and Ember moving away. I see the tears and the blood staining Sumire's cheek. All sounds drain out. Warmth. Leaving. She cries. Chains yanking. Desperate. I failed. Yep, you can say that again. We failed. We should never have gone to this. Yeah, back to title. Which is the title. Where do we go next from here? Well, we could try and be calmer to Chiharu at that particular scenario. Like what we say at the end there, like that choice there, it doesn't deter which ending we get. But we can definitely talk on the more calmer side to this. But it's still going to be the same. Are you sure? Biting back a noise of protest, I keep my wince to a minimum as I ask Chiharu. Are you sure? Have you looked at other clubs? That's why I'm just at the thinking phase, you know. On one hand, I really do want to occupy my time more. On the other hand, I should probably think about the very near future. Mom has been really anxious about my university and career choices, and I don't want to disappoint Papa. It's not about who you impress or disappoint, it's about what you want. Oh, Chiharu. I don't agree with the pressure your parents are putting on you, but I don't think a distraction as big as joining another club would help. Yeah, my parents won't be happy to hear about that anyway. It's not about what your parents think, Chiharu. It's about what you think. I'm just saying, it might feel good to join another club to fill out your time now, but in the long run, it might stress you out. Maybe consider taking up a hobby instead. I know you have baking and cooking, but maybe try out something new. Something you've never tried before. You're right. And that's a good idea, actually. Yeah, it's a much smaller commitment, though. If you don't like it in the long run, you can always drop it. Yeah. I've always wanted to try out croquet. There you go. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Thanks, Flare. I guess I really needed your sensibility. We sure did. In another timeline, I would have broken myself mentally to try and tell you that the occult club is indeed a very bad idea. The conversation turns idly till we part ways. Something feels lighter in my chest, and I'm glad I didn't run my mouth. Yeah, maybe my friendship with Chiharu hasn't changed. We just need a space to explore what's out there, to grow into ourselves. I smile. Maybe I should reach out more often. Maybe Chiharu would like that too. Yeah, sure would. And now the dreaded day has arrived, minus the horrificness with Chiharu earlier. Well, while we're on this subject, let's interrupt Sumire. Of course, we're here to help with that. Excellent. I trust you'll be putting a good word for us. I force out a smile. I don't like lying to people. With how volatile Ember seems right now, I don't want Sumire's blunt honesty to rile her up further. Is there any project you are working on, and you can share the details? Yes, we're working on something. It's a group exercise, basically. Yeah, it certainly is a group exercise. It's a bit difficult to describe. It's like a scavenger hunt. But instead of physical items, it's going to be facts tied with the places they get to. That sounds very interesting. Right? It's still in prep, though. Is that what your other club members are up to? Essentially, yeah. They're doing some research right now. It's only you two. It's only you two that's in this club. The project is actually a surprise to them. They know we're preparing something, but they just don't know that yet. That sounds exciting, right? We obviously don't have anything official to do like your club, but we're trying to keep things interesting for everyone else. Okie dokie, yeah, you say that. You say that. This is the same text, but we can't really skip it. It's not about what got them both into it, it's about how they got into it in the first place. Oh, to be honest, I just joined because I thought the flyer was funny. Seriously? It is, and outdated too. Nah. But jokes aside, once I got into it, the occult turns out to be pretty interesting overall. While Sumire tells Shizeo about what she finds interesting about the occult, I glance between Ember and Shizeo. Ember is visibly irritated and only answers in grunts, if that's even an answer to begin with. Her eyes are on Sumire, distrustful and annoyed. Shizeo, on the other hand, is immaculable. She answers Sumire's questions easily, peppering jokes here and there. She easily distracts Sumire from Ember Hostile's glares and growls. But I've also noticed she talks around a lot of questions. Shizeo elaborates on many things, except answering what Sumire is actually asking. Not that my nerves have settled. I watch the exchange with hyper-focus. Shizeo has long diverted the conversation to Sumire. Shizeo is now asking questions instead. So you guys hold meetings every week? Yeah, we don't have a set date because of conflicting schedules, but we always coordinate on the group chat. Oh, and a group chat. Journalism Club sounds so fun. It is. Shizeo really is just giving us the bare minimum. Sure, we got some of the basic questions answered, and that's really all we need for an article. I don't think anyone at school is really interested in what they do at the occult club. people don't like Ember, and from the quick interactions I've had with Shizeo, she never talks about her club in length. It's not a loss for us if we don't have a lot of information from them. I'm sure Kanako wouldn't care as much either. And yet I have a nagging feeling at the back of my head that Shizeo's trying to hide something. You don't say! Ember doesn't seem that happy about everything either. While I doubt Ember has the same reasons to be wary of the interview as I do, I notice she's been giving not just me and Sumire angry looks, she's been glaring at the back of Shizeo's head too, impatient and riled up. Also, the fact that the supposed club has been empty aside from the four of us is doing nothing for my jangly nerves. So I pretend to look at my phone and tap Sumire's shoulder. We have to get back to our meeting. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, sorry to keep you. That's alright. Thank you so much for your time. Hope your project will do well. No worries, it's been fun. And thank you. Thank you both. Of course. That went better than I thought it would. Did it? Yeah. What's wrong? So she didn't notice after all. I'll wait until we're a floor away before telling Sumire my observation. She doesn't seem convinced at first, but she at least listens to me. When she gets to the notes she took, Sumire's expression changes. Oh, you're not being dramatic. What is that supposed to mean? Sumire wrinkles her nose. She doesn't say anything though, not for a while. It could just be us overthinking it. Maybe? Nah. But what does Shizeo have to hide? A lot. Look, Sumire. Main character. The main character is more on board towards the idea of Shizeo and Ember being characters. Bad characters. But look at the one who is looking at all of you right now. Me. I have knowledge of other timelines that have happened throughout this game. I know exactly what kind of people that these are within the game in the scenes in which we have watched them at. Shizeo and Ember are nothing but bad news. For every single timeline that we've been across, there's always been at least one moment within one of those timelines that Ember and Shizeo have been an absolute tyrant towards both the player and the friends around the player. So to answer your question, Sumire, yes, Shizeo has to hide a lot. It's not like Shizeo herself has a stellar reputation. Sumire knows I'm right. As popular as Shizeo is, there are rumours about her that turn my head. Twin sister of Emery Onoshi, she might not be the heir of the Onoshi shrine, but she is expected or was expected to behave a certain way. But of course, that's not at all how Shizeo acts. I'm not stupid enough to think Shizeo not following the Onoshi rules is blasphemous. Honestly, growing up in such a strict environment must be difficult. I'm surprised she doesn't act out more. However, Shizeo is a huge part of why Kamachi High is a huge pot of gossip. Shizeo has a big following, and a lot of people listen to just about everything she says. They in turn spread her words around. Along the way, the source of those rumours got lost in the flow. It's difficult to track down exactly who said what, but either everyone who spreads the gossip is in Shizeo's circles, or Shizeo herself has been a point of connection somewhere along the line. Or even both. I don't want to think that someone, Shizeo nonetheless, is trying to hide something malicious. That is why you can't get too attached to somebody who keeps dodging around the question, because they have a lot to hide. It's difficult not to think of the occult club as something not malicious. I know, Sumire knows, but for some reason, everyone is content to just let it sit there. Of course they would, because it's easier to just put one very easy explanation upon what's going on and stick to that, because it's easier to just let that be rather than to deal with it, which is the harder way to, well, dealing with it. What are they trying to hide? I don't know, their other identity? One of them being a demonic fiend and the other one being a hellhound. And I'm glad the timeline has changed here and we are going down a different route rather than going into the forest. We were supposed to be having the meeting outside today, but it rained at the last minute. The club barely settled down for a moment before a shower came, forcing us all inside in a rush? Is this different? It's going back to the other timeline which we originally referred to, where it's either the normal end or the good ending, but it's just a different variation of it. I hope anyways, because if Shizeo is still content that we've researched into the occult club, then we're definitely still in trouble. Hello? Hey Chiharu. Sorry, I can't come to the phone right now, but... Oh, this again. This again. Chiharu's not answering the phone. Maybe we're still within the bad ending timeline. Nah. Dunno, she said she has a call with her parents, but calls during the week don't usually last that long. From what Chiharu has very briefly mentioned, it only lasts for an hour at most. Maybe she's preparing for dinner? Doesn't stop me from being worried though. Maybe I should call her again just for peace of mind. No, we're gonna try call her back. We're not gonna leave it. We need to call her back. It is what friends do in times of need. Try to call her back. Right. After some long, anxiety-ridden beeping, the pre-recorded voice of Chiharu sounds on the other end again. Great again. Ugh. Hey Chiharu, just checking to see if you're okay. Let me know if you want to talk, alright? I hang up, frowning down at the phone. Nothing? Damn it. She must be really occupied. Or, yeah, occupied is the correct word. I'm just going to say that right now. Occupied, unable to get to the phone, probably kidnapped. I'll check in with her later as well. Yeah, thanks. Sensing my tension, Sumire keeps herself quiet for a while. We travel in companionable silence, each occupied in our own thoughts. So at the mansion now, sort of like the normal and good end timeline, but still feeling like the bad route in a way. But she appeared online on the chat app through those, so her phone should be on. Yeah, that is worrying. Ring the doorbell, and nobody is there, I imagine. Chiharu, it's me, Flare, and Sumire. Hey, Chiharu, we brought lunch. Is it okay if we come in? For a moment too long, there's only silence on the other side. Oh, okay, I'm in the garden. We'll be there. So she is in there somehow. Oh my, it's Flare and Sumire. Shizeo? Hi. Hey. What are you doing here, Shizeo? Chiharu's been, I called her here. What other magic is at work here, Shizeo? I see. A pain of hurt lances through me, so Chiharu and Shizeo are that close, huh? Enough that Chiharu would call her over me. Have you guys had lunch? I brought some food. Oh, food? We made some as well. Let's all sit down and eat. The air among us can be cut with a knife. Chiharu is avoiding looking at anything but her lap. I avoid looking at Chiharu at all costs. Sumire keeps shooting me and Chiharu worried looks. Meanwhile, Shizeo is the only one acting like everything is normal, helping Shizeo set up the food she's brought. This is a bad situation. It seems like Chiharu and Shizeo were having a brunch when we interrupted them. Small sandwiches, simple but delicate, and tea. Sumire, on the other hand, brought some stir fries from a local store. The takeout boxes are just out of place as me and Sumire herself. I feel like this is definitely going to be a bad ending but a different variation. Maybe we can have this later? Sure. Here, have some tea, you two. You got your souls knocked out of you. I accept the teacup from don't drink it. Please don't drink that cup of tea. It's going to be poisoned. So how are you, Chiharu? I've been better. Yeah, we can certainly tell that you've been better. Oh, Chiharu's been feeling a bit unwell, so I came to check on her. That's pretty... don't get too comfortable. Just doing what friends do. Now let me refill your tea. You're very adamant about refilling our teas, aren't you? Almost like you want us to have enough of your tea, Shizeo. Are you alright, Flare? You don't like the tea? No, the tea is fine. I'll take a sip to placate her. The tea is a bit strong. Obviously herbal and almost overwhelmingly minty. Surprisingly, it does help with the nausea rising from my gut and steady my nerves some. Are you sick, Chiharu? Just a bit unwell. Oh, is there anything we could do for you? No? Chiharu breaks into a series of coughs. Shizeo immediately puts a hand over her shoulder. Chiharu, do you want to go lie down, or... It's okay. Just a bit... You think it's okay that it's just a bit difficult to breathe? I think that is very bad. You should go to bed then, Chiharu, if you're feeling unwell. For you. What's that? Chiharu breaks into a series of coughs, stumbling over the table as she does. Chiharu immediately rushes over to hold her up. Rubbing circles on her back, Sumire quickly pours a glass of water and pushes it into Chiharu's hands while I hover around uselessly. Sumire's right, Chiharu. We should get you inside. Fine. Sumire, give me a hand. Sure. But what can I do? Just wait here for a bit. We'll be right... No, we should go with you. I watch as the three girls shuffle back inside. One of them is weak, one of them is about to get weak, and we're going to be weak out here. I have half a mind to follow them, but I can't deny Chiharu's indifference towards me hurts. She probably wouldn't want me in there. Feeling defeated, I sit back down again. I have half a mind to leave, but I can't bring myself to. Regardless of what my standing with Chiharu is now, I still consider her my friend, my oldest friend. Maybe she doesn't want me around anymore, but that shouldn't stop me from caring. I can't decide whether I'm more worried or more disappointed though. The thing just leaves me exhausted. 50 minutes pass and then Chiharu emerges alone. Sorry about that. Sumire is watching over Chiharu for a bit. I see. Are you alright? What's wrong with Chiharu? I'm not sure. She's been a bit odd since Friday, but she didn't want to say anything. She finally texted me back this morning, so I visited. She's been like that since you got here? I think so. She's been quiet the whole day Saturday, so I'm not sure when it started. I'm sure you know when it started, Chiharu. I see. Did she call for you too? No, she did not. Don't you think that's a bit preposterous? Oh? The deep feeling of betrayal rears up again. Of course, why am I surprised? Of course Chiharu would call Chiharu first. I'm not close to her anymore. Still, it's good that you... I think I'm leaving. Oh? You sure? Maybe after Chiharu gets up, she might want to talk to you. I'm sure. For a fraction of a second, I see Chiharu's eyes move, focusing on something behind me. Yep. Again like this. What are we to expect? It's the same outcome. I thought it was going to be one of the other two endings, but not this time. It's just a different variation, a different perception of this. You're late. Yep. Do we even need to know? We've already been through this, just a different location. Yeah. This is a setup. Definitely a setup. Yeah, someone please help. Nobody's coming to help, unfortunately. You're going to end up in that prison again. So, from the thing I've learned about this game is do not pursue the official articles. And we didn't even, at one time, interact with Emery. So, my hypothesis that official articles would lead down to the Emery, more or less, side of things would be wrong. But Hobbyist definitely is better because we're not focusing on official stuff, so therefore we're not digging up research on the occult club. So that went that way, and that kind of actually makes sense actually, because if you look at more official stuff, then you're looking for everything really that's been going on. And if you're looking up stuff that isn't really covered, then the people who are trying to hide it will obviously want to try and silence you for good. So that's what happened to the main character, and most likely as well as Sumire, in the bad ending of Sumire's Road. I don't think there are any other endings, but I think there are different things that we can pursue within the game, like rather than going from traditional to choosing traditional over digital. That's what I was looking for there. So we've got different choices here. That's the one on the top left. Hold on, let me enable mouse for a second here. So this one at top left here is the very first decision when we go into the class. The second choice ever in the game. If we click agree, then we go to the occult club. But if we disagree, then we go to the journalism club. I think this one here is not referring towards the what do we call it? The traditional and the digital team. This one, again, probably is? I'm not too sure actually. But these other two, along with this one over here, seems more like it. Well, if we go from here and see what we can find. Oh yeah, the cooking, thing. Okay, we accept. Oh, are you sure, Chiharu? I don't want to be a bother. Oh no, of course not. I always make a little too much myself, really. Oh man, if you can, then it'll be great. No worries. I'll have you know that I've improved loads since we were kids, yeah, because the embassy was a bit of a guinea pig for Chiharu's recipes. I'll be the judge of that. Wow, rude. I laugh while she lightly slaps my forearm with every step I take alongside Chiharu, I feel lighter. My poor expectation of this sort of move has mostly been dashed after today. I can only hope the days to follow will continue to get better. If you say so. In the end, it could be. Or it definitely isn't. I remember this choice. Lucky you. If you picked it you like it, then she gives you that very, emotionless look. But we've definitely been through this, just under a different route though. So this is the same kind of dialogue that you would have if, let's say, if you accept or decline Ember's lunch invitation. And from there you would accept it, so therefore you'd go with Ember, but decline it, and then you'll be in this situation with Chiharu. So we've already been through this, just under a different route. I didn't realise. Don't worry, I chuckled shaking my head at Sumire's smug face. Just took me by surprise, didn't really have a chance to look. Hey now. She is definitely teasing me, but I choose not to have a rise out of it and shake my head instead, laughing. Anyhow, sorry Sumire for not responding to you earlier, okay? We just got buried in schoolwork and it just slips my mind. Don't worry about it. That's why I shot you a text, thanks. Thank you. I think so, and we'll get to the point of... Oh, this again, okay, so there's that, and then there's that. So when do we get the chance to join either the digital team or the traditional team? I thought that was like a choice. What about denying? Hold on. Decline. So it goes on to the assembly hall, which I believe that would be the case. So here... Oh, ask about the cooking club. Okay. Oh, what's wrong with the cooking club? Oh yeah, I keep forgetting the two of you are new. She leans a bit closer, speaking in a conspiratory voice. So the cooking club's president is named Jasmine, and she's a notorious mean girl. She's a senior this year, and was club president last year too. Last year she was a nightmare, and reportedly scared off a bunch of potential new club members with her attitude. So like Ember, really? Not a pleasant girl, that one. Cooking club is still a well sought after club though. But you got extra credits to carry over to home ec. Between you and me, I'd rather put in extra work rather than dealing with Jasmine and her cliché. That's that bad, huh? Sumire wrinkles her nose. So, like, I don't want to be a gossip, but being in a journalism club means that you gotta listen to a lot of gossip, and you know what it's like. Most gossips are unpleasant, they sure are. That's why they give them the name of gossips. And there's Shizeo, isn't it? To say nothing, I think we haven't delved into this yet. Sumire shuffles awkwardly for once, struck speech as perhaps taking pity on her. Chiharu stumbles to speak. You're an Onishi? Yeah. Why? No, we're not a fan. We're just curious, that's all. No, I was rereading up on Komachi, and we used to live here in the shrine, and your sister is in my class, so... Relax. I was just teasing you, like you do with everyone else. Of course. Like I'm gonna leap in from the screen right now and just tell them all about Shizeo and Ember's notorious plan to end all of your lives. I'm not ending this with a bad ending. I'm going back on one of the other routes of the game and getting a good ending instead, for goodness sakes. So this is the game we're used to. Just this game. Familiar times, isn't it? Looking through this game and seeing all the joys that are brought out of it. And I absolutely love this game. Possibly a little bit more than I used to because of an extension of another character. But is that other character Sumire going to be included in any of these other timelines of the game? Like Sumire had a very brief appearance in the Time Goes On scenario, but not this one. And I'm very curious as to where this is going to go. Possibly. I don't think there's anything else, but I just want to end off in a good note. I'm going to let you folks be surprised to see which one of these we'll choose, for goodness sakes. Hey, Emery's smiling for once. Lovely. I actually really think that Emery's route is underappreciated, I'm not going to lie. We're on crunch time to save Chiharu, so we're just gonna skip through all of this. There's no waiting around. There's no waiting around, for goodness sakes. Open the door. Answer the door. Just go through. And Chiharu is still there, waiting to be rescued from the claws of Ember, who inadvertently doesn't know in her state that it is Chiharu and not some other person like Jasmine. So we're sneaking into the school with the coldest person in the entire cast. I still like Enemarie though. She's like my second favourite, alongside Shizaya, who's my favourite. And I was despising her throughout the entire Sumire playthrough, just simply because I wanted there not to be any occult related themes going on. And I really wish I picked the official articles first and then Hobbyist, just so that we end off on the new route on the good ends. Now we go in. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Captain. Oh, wait, Head Priestess, however you want to be titled. Sorry, Emery. Now, this is a double-edged sword, because with this case, it would lower your score or stats with Chiharu whilst raising it with Emery. Banishing my inherent thoughts about what Emery just shared, I look up at her, bites down my lower lip. There's something I'd like to have your professional opinion about, but can I have your confidentiality? Curious, but yes, speak. Do you remember the day we all thought Chiharu stayed home because she was sick? I do remember this. Oh, now I've done it. Chiharu told me to keep everything quiet. But for one person you could probably report this to without it exploding out of control, like other people, let's say Ember or Shizaya, is Emery. But the circumstances surrounding that incident were suspicious. Since I can't find any logical explanation to it, I'd like someone to help me, and who better to do this than Emery Onoshi? Chiharu wasn't sick. I came to see her that night, but she wasn't home. I received a disturbing phone call then, telling me to go to the storage room at school. I freaked out and tried to call the police, ambulance, firefighter, even you guys, but my phone didn't want to work at all. I bite down my tongue and fight the wave of nausea as I described to Emery the condition I found Chiharu in that night. I didn't stop to investigate further. I just had a really bad feeling in my gut that night. If I was any later or if we stayed in longer, something really bad would have happened to us. Emery's quiet at first, but this could go both ways. It might indeed be a supernatural happening, or it could just be a stupid prank. But what about the door itself? Okay, of all people, I'd expect Emery to be giving me this half and half answer. Would it be more like her to jump right into a supernatural conclusion? But then again, she is the most logical one out of everyone at the club, and I can see how she would think it could be a prank. But the handlebars are completely melted off on the inside, and even if it is a prank, I don't think any student could have access to tools capable of doing that, somehow. Even if someone does have that kind of access, they couldn't possibly do such a thing without being found out. That storage isn't far from the classrooms. People would have noticed something going on. You're alright. I'll take a look at this when I scatter my seals around the school, and you're going to be my carry boy, and you're going to carry all the seals around so that I can put them in places. But of course she'll be very thankful for that. Look at her fingers. She worked herself up so hard to make these seals, and yet she's open up to the MC? You can definitely tell she's not a completely cold character, am I right? Ember, Emery doesn't get along well with. Shizaya, another one that Emery doesn't really get along with. Grandpa, definitely. Like the MC's grandfather used to work at the shrine, so Emery must have seen him around. Obviously that was confirmed in Sumire's route, and other routes as well, that there are definitely things about that sort of thing. But also as well, a person to the community is what Emery would probably prefer to talk about rather than somebody that she already knows. Talk about the letter that the MC found from his grandpa. It's better than talk about the club, for goodness sakes. Emery knows about the club. But let's talk about the letter, the mysterious stuff. From what most others who have played this game confirm is that the Comfort Emery option is very difficult to get. In my first run through of this route, I managed to get that Comfort Emery one though. That's definitely a key here. Like, I just find Emery's personality, what she likes, what she dislikes, to be very clear. She's not a person who likes to beat around the bush. So, like, this next scene is really loving. It is tough being the responsible one. Yeah, between the twin sisters, she is definitely the responsible one. That's wonderful. Like, the first time seeing this, I was in tears, but I still am in a way, but it's just that you don't expect Emery to smile at all, but she does. She really does. Aw, Ember, surely Chiharu's not that harsh. Lovely. She owns a business now. There was a lot of work to do. Indeed it is. Cut me some slack, which... And also remember in this ending as well, only Shizeo is one that died. Obviously she would be perished because she got shot by a bow of... an arrow of light from Emery. It's not just died, but, like, eviscerated into the next life. But this is definitely one of the what you would call better good ends. Like Ember's good end was very sad because it's kind of like a punishment for what she's done, but she's kind of more accepting it rather than trying to fight it. We're going to leave things off here. This is definitely what you would call the end to this Let's Play of Missing Time. It spanned across both 2020 and 2021 from the start of August 2020, I believe it was. I think it is anyways. Let me just look on my channel. Right, Missing Time. Not the demo. I think that was earlier on in the year. 26 videos I've made of this game. 26. Like, that is just astounding as to like how much time I've put into this game. And not just that, but also just like getting other bits of work as well to go with it, like the background work behind trying to get each of the characters' endings and trying to go through the different routes throughout the game. It's just such a wonderful thing to endear and stuff like that, and it was just such a wonderful experience to go through, which is why I ranked it as like an S in my visual novels ranking video, because it just really captivated me and touched me in so many ways that a lot of other games didn't, because like there's a lot of betrayal involved and a lot of realism at the same time, because you could think that yes, there is paranormal and supernatural and occult related things going on which isn't what you would call real, but when you look at it psychologically, the events that transpire here, minus the paranormal, minus the supernatural, they're very real. So go from this, so... Oh, it's nearly the beginning of August, so July the 30th, July the 31st, December, which was when the Time Goes On scenario came out. And yeah, that was a bizarre scenario as well. Like, that scenario was the worst outcome for all the characters. Like, each and every character in that route just died. Like, the MC died through the combination of Shizeo and the sword that she struck through herself and him as like a double suicide. But then Emery was stabbed to death because the MC thought that Emery was the bad thing going on and thought that he was trying to defend Shizeo. But let me just surmise something real quick, and I want to make this brief, but it's something that the developers have kept trying to put forward in the secret route of the game, and that is when the events have transpired throughout that and Chiharu killed Shizeo when she was in her yandere form, the soul or the essence or the personality that was once inside Shizeo entered Chiharu. But if you think about that, the main character was the nearest one to Shizeo when she died. So you gotta put that into perspective, that the parasite, the curse, moves on to the next host, but that host has also got to be emotionally unstable at that point in time. And both the MC and Chiharu were unstable. But also, would the parasite care for what its hosts think? Do you think that the parasite would even accept Shizeo's wish to move on to another body? But that cycle just literally continues and continues and continues. There is no ending here in this game that literally just goes to the point of ending the curse once and for all. Like, that's what I originally thought that the secret route would be, rather than being like a harem of sorts, where the MC is like the character in which all the girls fell in love with. Like, at one very minuscule moment, Emery was having feelings for the MC because he saved her when Shizeo pushed her into the water. Ember, in a way, is at the end, at the very, very end, before she got stabbed by Chiharu. Like, all the characters in that secret route got killed by Chiharu. Aside from the MC, in which Chiharu was trying to kill because she was being jealous and all that. But what the developers tried to put forward is that Shizeo moved on to Chiharu at the very end there, which I personally don't agree with. Because, like I said earlier about Parasite, it doesn't care for its host's emotions. It's just the fact that the parasite latched onto somebody and is literally plaguing them as food to feast upon. Like, parasites change somebody for the absolute worst. And throughout the game, we learn that the parasite is being, well, not controlled, but preventative of taking control of the host in Shizeo through the powers of Emery, but at the same time, Emery is using Shizeo as like a power source so that she doesn't get her power or life force sucked up. And that in itself is a question. Do you think that Shizeo passed on to Chiharu, or do you think Shizeo went like every other victim to the curse? And what I thought would happen at the very, happened in the secret route, is that the curse would be put to a stop. We'll face the demon or whatever it was that came from the other world and that was imprisoned beneath the Onishi Shrine before it was constructed as the Onishi Shrine by, I think it's either the Onishi descendants or somebody else, but then that became the Onishi name. But it's such an interesting tale to go upon. Like, you could relate the curse in this game to similar real-life scenarios, but I don't think that the curse in this game has any kind of references or any inspiration from a, let's say, a real-life curse, as it were. But this is a very interesting game. Very interesting, very fascinating, very heartbreaking at times as well. Like, the secret end is probably like one of the most upsetting times I've ever been with in a game, and it's a visual novel. So that shows you how powerful words can be, along with motions that are on the screen. I do think also as well, one final thing to point out is that there are two Shizeos in Missing Time. One of them, and this is the one that is apparent in the Time Goes On scenario and the good route of Shizeo's route, is that she wants to help the MC. She wants to be with the MC. But in all the other routes, she is literally a mess that only wants to kill the MC, but is waiting for the right moment, manipulating her pawn, which is Ember, in order to do so. So the decisions that the player makes throughout the game literally determines which Shizeo there is. And you could call it a hunch if you will, but I think that is kind of what is actually going on with this game, because in Shizeo's bad ending, at the very end of the game, where Shizeo is just beforehand saying that she will always win in the end, no matter what, she will always win. But like I said about the parasite, it doesn't care for its host. It doesn't care emotionally, and doesn't even have the ability to transmit personality from one host to another. So that's what I'm just going to end this all on. And I'm hoping that at some point I will fulfill my promise that I did make within one of my episodes of making like a character review of each of the characters throughout this game. Well, not the MC, but all the other characters, and how the story overarches this entire universe that is Missing Time. You won't miss any time by watching those, but it's something that I promised last year that I didn't really fulfill because I only wanted to do it when the entire story was put out. But I think I need to explore through this game throughout all of the routes at least one more time to be able to fully go through and say that this is what this is what that is, and the most concrete route is explanation this of this route because of this explanation behind it. I think I got the wording of that mixed up there. But anyways, folks, we shall see each other in the future, possibly. If you're here only for missing time, then I'm sorry, but there are other games to look out on. And thank you so much to all the people who've watched these videos. It's really heartwarming to see people's comments, seeing like the developers as well, most especially, which is surprising. Like throughout Let's Plays, it's always very surprising to hear from the developers of all people, considering that they might even be sick of looking through their own game for hours on end. We shall see each other in the next video. Have a lovely day and take care of yourselves.